All right, everybody, good morning. So last week I asked you to send me all of your content questions so that we could talk about them this week as we wrap up this past month or so discussion on the blog about content. And I received some really great questions. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into them, and I think they will be helpful to a lot of you as you write your content. So the first question was about writer's block, and someone emailed me and said, I always suffer from writer's block when I'm trying to write my own content. When it's really important to me, it feels like the stakes are so high, and I completely understand that. And so I have a little trick that I always use when I write, and I recommend this to all of my students and clients as well. So writing happens, and I've touched on this a little bit before on the blog, but I want to review this very important concept. So writing, the actual act of writing, and then the actual act of editing and perfecting what you write happens in two completely different areas of the brain. One is a very right-sided brain creative function, and that's the actual writing and drafting part. And the other part, perfecting it and proofreading it and getting the content finalized, that's your left brain kicking in. So what a lot of people do is they sit down to write, and first they try to think of the perfect title or headline. And then once they think of that, they try to write their content to match that perfect title or headline. And then they try to go back and make it so perfect while they're writing. So they'll write a few sentences and say, no, I should have said that this way or that way. And this process continues. And then they might think, oh, shoot, I actually wrote this, so maybe my headline should change or my title should change. And the process starts all over again several times. And so as a rule of thumb, I suggest write first, edit later. So I'm going to talk to you about editing in a second, but I want to talk to you about writing first. So this is an exercise that takes a little bit of discipline because we're humans and we have this inclination to make things perfect, final product as we go. We've been trained in school, in life to say, okay, we need to do things right. And so it's very hard for us sometimes to just start writing and keep going. But that's what I encourage you to do. So think of your topic and then just keep writing over and over and over. Just keep writing content. It's okay if you think that you're not doing things quite perfectly, that you're a little scattered with a sentence here or there, or something doesn't make sense, because we can take care of that later. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, but you need to just write. And you can do a few different drafts, but the important thing is just to start writing and keep writing. And if you remember a few weeks ago, I shared with you my favorite prompt if you're stuck, and that's I remember. So it's much easier to write about something that has already happened and then take that example and make it congruent to what you're writing about, whether it's a personal example or an example that you're using on behalf of something else. If you think of something that's already happened, an event, you know, a special memory, then it's much easier to get the ideas down on paper. We're much better at writing about the concrete than the abstract. So try to use that prompt if you're struggling to stay on track, and then just write. Then when it comes to editing, that's when you first take a look and figure out first, what can you get rid of? That's number one. Number two, what needs reorganization? Number three, check for typos, content, all of that. So you're going to take care of all that stream of thought consciousness by first taking away what doesn't really work. Second, reorganizing things that may have been out of place when you were just writing. And then third, finally, you're going to edit. The last step to all of this is to make your title or your headline. So you're going to have a general idea of what you're writing about when you just write, but don't get caught up in the headline or the title and the perfect sentences first. Get caught up in just getting content on paper. And don't treat this as a high stakes thing. Treat this as any old exercise you would do. And take business out of it. So when you go to unload the dishwasher or fold the laundry or do some yard work, usually you just jump in and do it. You don't do a lot of thinking about exactly how to do it because it's something you do over and over and over. We've been writing since we were in kindergarten, first grade. So don't think too much, just write, because it's something you know how to do and you've been doing it for a very, very long time. So don't get intimidated by the high stakes of your content. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't clean like companies coming over that you really want to impress. Clean like you clean every day. Then you have time to go back and make it perfect. All right. Next question that I wanted to share with you is a question about video phobia. So someone wrote to me and said, I know video is really important. I know it's getting more and more important, but I'm just having trouble putting myself out there and getting on video. What are your recommendations for starting with video? And that is such a good question. So in my course, I give a recommendation that anytime you start with video, especially if you're a little bit afraid, using Facebook Live or Instagram Live, those are two great functions to get started with. Why? Because no one expects you to be perfect. So right now I'm on live video. And so if I stumble over a word, if I say a few too many times, if I have to pause and think, if I have to clear my throat, if I take a sip of coffee, people expect that because I'm live and I'm raw and I'm not editing my footage before I put it up. And so not only do people expect mistakes, but remember a few weeks back when I talked about showing vulnerability? If I have some of my breakfast in my teeth right now, which maybe I do, you can see that if I do, you may just feel a little bit closer to me and you may relate to me as another human being. And that may actually make my video more successful. Important to remind yourself that we are all human beings and that a little bit of vulnerability and humanness goes a very long way in video. So when we all talk about starting on video and getting it right, kind of like, you know, this writer's block thing that holds us up from creating content, we're always going in with this attitude of we need to make it perfect. But practice makes perfect. And on video, you need to practice over and over and over to get perfect. Now, I will give you a couple tips to make you feel a little more comfortable that are very important that I think everyone should know before they go on video. I would recommend so first is going to be about lighting. And lighting is extremely important on video. And so I would recommend that when you get started on video, don't video at night or early in the morning because lighting is a little off at those times of the day. So film when you have some natural light in the daylight. And then in the daylight more towards, you know, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Film sometime during business hours. Actually, it's getting more toward winter, so I would say 9 p.m. and 4 p.m. And face a natural light source. So I'm in my office right now, and I am facing a huge window on my wall. So the sunlight that's coming in from the window is directly on me, and I have thin shades that I put down because some of the sunlight is a little bit harsh. And I did that by, you can figure that out easily, even if you're about to go live, because when you hit go live on Facebook or Instagram, it doesn't take you live immediately. It sets up your camera first so that you can see how you look on camera and you can adjust it, and then you hit go live again. So you actually have a chance to make sure you don't have a big glare. So you might have to soften the light with shades, or that you don't have a big shadow, which means you're not facing the light straight on. If you have a shadow on you somewhere, that means maybe you're standing with a light source to the side of you and you need to turn a little bit. And if you look like you have a halo, that means you have light behind you. That's a really cool effect sometimes when photographers take photos, but these are professional photographers that are going for this backlit look. And it can make it sometimes kind of hard on video to actually see your face. But if you are backlit and you have no choice, let's say you're outside at an event for your business or something, then walk forward until your face comes out of the shadow. You'll still have that halo effect. The light will still be behind you, and that's actually kind of cool, but your face will show if you walk forward far enough away from the light source. But like I mentioned in the beginning, put the light directly in front of you when you start on video. Okay, and then the cool thing about going live is on both Facebook and Instagram, you can download your video and you can re-upload it to YouTube and share it on a blog or on different collateral for your business, let's say an e-blast. And so again, people can recognize that you've at one point gone live, and it takes away that phobia of having to make the video perfect, but you can repurpose your live videos. And so it's a great way to practice over and over again with minimal equipment, just your computer webcam or your phone, and making sure you're facing light in the right way, and then you just go for it. And you can delete a live video too, because Facebook takes some time and Instagram to render. And so once people have watched it live, you can either, in the case of Instagram, save it to your phone and choose if you're going to post it to a story or repurpose it. Or in the case of Facebook, once it hits your news feed, you can delete and try again. Now, another thing is both Facebook and Instagram want people to go live on their platform because it's great for engagement. And so not only is it great, as Facebook and Instagram know, to engage your customer base and your fans and followers, but Facebook and Instagram say, ooh, I want to make sure these people that are going live right now show up on as many news feeds as possible. And so their algorithms reward people for going live. So that's my number one advice for starting video. Now, if going live just doesn't seem like your thing, I encourage you to purchase a small tripod from Amazon that either is floor length or desktop, depending on your business. So if you're going to do videos like I am, where I'm talking about marketing or a particular subject, then you're going to want a desktop tripod because it's going to be a lot of face to camera that you're doing. But if your business is more visual and you have a shop and you want to walk around and give a tour or something, then you might want a taller tripod so that you can film yourself. Or you might want a handheld tripod so that you can walk around with your video. Either way, get a tripod. You can find them for about 30 bucks on Amazon, some type of tripod that goes best with the type of business you're doing so that you have a way to hold your phone and video yourself, or have your phone sit on your desk or something else and video. And then again, just face the light and video on your phone. Your phone actually has a really good camera and it's a great place to get started. Finally, if you want your sound to be a little more projected, I recommend you buy a lavalier microphone like I'm wearing right now. Again, they run from anywhere from $20 to $60 depending on what type you get. The brand Rode, R-O-D-E, happens to be very high quality. So if you want to search for that, that's the type I use. And it goes a long way if you plug your microphone into your phone as you video record. So that your sound is more, it condenses your sound so you don't get all the background noise. You still hear some background noise, but it really condenses your voice into the video. Okay, now, final question. I said I'd share with you 3 questions. So my final question that I picked to share with you is an email I received about content where someone, and this is more advanced, so if you're taking my Zero to Digital course, or you've worked with me on Facebook ads and landing pages and email marketing, this is kind of where this question comes from, but it's a really important question. It was about a landing page that wasn't converting as well as this person had hoped. And so taking a look at the ad compared to the landing page, we realized that photos and the whole look and feel needed to be congruent. So the content was great. The actual writing was great. It was just that if someone clicked from the ad to the landing page, the photo, the visuals looked a little different. So first rule of thumb, always make sure your content is congruent. So if you're making, basically what I'm describing here is a funnel. So in my course, we learn how eventually to make an ad on Facebook or Instagram or Google, and then funnel that through a landing page, email marketing, conversion, and some retargeting along the way so that we can eventually have a sophisticated automated system of getting conversions for our businesses. So what this question was about, okay, the ad, which is the top of the funnel, which is the first click where people see, actually was converting quite well, lots of clicks. But then you hit the landing page and you have a lot of bounce offs, not as many conversions. So there's something between the ad and the landing page that wasn't working. So for this particular question, we dissected the content of the ad and the landing page and realized that that content needed to match. So anytime you have an ad that goes to a landing page, make sure the photos are similar. So you may have someone that looks frustrated in an ad, and then on your landing page, you have someone smiling, but make sure it's the same someone. whether it's you or a customer or some nicely chosen stock photos. And start with your text first. So in this particular case, the text was really nice, but make sure that your writing is dialed in and that you're talking about the same scenarios in your ad that you are on your landing page. So if you're telling a story about someone that's struggling with something, make sure you carry through that struggle to your landing page, but then give that kind of transformation on your landing page and maybe a testimonial or two. Again, this is a little more advanced, but I wanted to share it with you because we have people of all levels here that are either in the course, on the blog, and I just want to make sure that everybody is getting their questions answered clearly. And it's something to think about because even if you're just starting out with digital marketing, this is where I hope you get really soon. And when you get there, I want to make sure your funnels work really well and convert really highly. So those are the three main questions that I wanted to share with you today. I received a few more really great ones, and I picked those three main questions just because they kind of comprehensively take a look at some details about content that I really wanted to make sure came through for you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up this week. Next week, I'm going to be diving into a new topic, but still, if you have content-related questions, we can come back to it. I'll come back to content often because, as I've mentioned several times on this blog, if your content isn't working, then all the other things we can do in digital marketing aren't going to work as well as they would with great content. And so in my Zero to Digital course, for example, and with my clients that I work with, I always start with saying, let's get your content great. Let's hone your offer. Let's really make sure we are coming from the right perspective. Now, before I go, I want to go back to one thing that I forgot to mention when we were talking about writer's block. And remember, this is a live video, so I'm allowed to do that. I'm allowed to say, oops, I forgot, and I'm coming back to it. So for those video phobes, here you go. For writer's block, one more thing I wanted to say as I glanced down at my notes is that maybe you're trying to use too many of your own words. So if you have writer's block, go out and talk to someone. And for most of you, I recommend that someone be a customer or a constituent. Ask them a little bit about you. Ask them a little bit about what are you great at? What makes you purchase products or services from my business? What makes you notice me? I promise that you will always find something new and exciting, and you can actually use their direct words that they say in your content. In fact, that's a wonderful marketing strategy that I recommend you use whenever you can, because when you read content where someone's done that, that's when you all of a sudden feel like, how did they know I was thinking that? And so it's a great strategy both to not only get past your writer's block, but to also make your content convert a little bit better. All right, now I promise I'm done. I'm going to let you all go. Good luck with your content. Keep the questions coming. Hi@marketingsimplified.com, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.